At the age of 12, I managed to learn how to use Photoshop by simply downloading the bootleg version online. At the age of 15, I was having phone meetings with suppliers abroad, pretending to be Hasse Müller, a Swedish businessman with great connections to major Swedish and American enterprises, so that the people on the other end of the phone would take me seriously. At the age of 16, I managed to register my first company with the help of my parents' signature. And at the age of 23, I run the creative agency Bronze, which works in the landscape of pop culture and PR. Instead of waiting for a job opportunity, I decided that I needed to create my own. Why? Because a lot of older leaders hold age and positions way over raw talent and ambition. My name is not Hasse Müller, although the alter ego will live with me forever. My name is Haisam Mohammed. I'm 23 years old, and I'm the son to Mohammed Said and Maryam Mohammed, two heroes who was forced to flee the war in Eritrea and came to Sweden for a better life for me and my siblings. This is not only my story. This is a story of a generation growing up with the mindset and willingness to create their own opportunities and be independent. You see, before I found the Bronze, I was desperately looking for opportunities at companies who I thought would value what I had to offer. But I got rejected. I got rejected based on the lack of a fancy education on paper, or because I was too young. I got rejected by leaders who did not understand my expertise as a creative or the perspective that I could bring. But I was confident in negotiating with super stubborn men, which is a task itself, I must say. I had the skills and the tasks they requested, and I was still struggling. Because for as long as we can remember, companies have had the same way of recruiting. You've had to get to college, you've had to finish college, and you have to present them with a degree just to prove that you have something to bring to the table. I didn't exactly take the college route, but I knew that I deserved a seat. The feeling of being misunderstood is something a lot of younger people are familiar with. And I mean, when it comes to work life, it can get hard. But no matter how old the company leaders are, they have also been young at once. So why are them so reluctant on giving young people a chance? People who took a different route and learned their craft in a non-traditional way, but clearly has something to offer. This frustrating feeling of being misunderstood and underrated was something that lived with me for a long time. Why couldn't they see the potential? And this is my theory of why. I am born on September 14th, 1996, the day after the world-famous artist Tupac Shakur was killed. And as you might understand, I was too young to have witnessed his greatness. But I was inspired by him. And to be honest, it would have taken me another 12 years to learn English well enough to understand what he was rapping about. But Tupac still ended up as one of my favorite artists. How could that be? Because I'm privileged. Not because I grew up in a family with a lot of money and connections. Not because I have a fancy degree from fancy school. I'm privileged because throughout my life, I've had the greatest teacher of them all. Greater than any teacher at Harvard. Greater than any teacher at Stanford. Greater than, sorry to say, any teacher at this university. my teacher was called the internet. The internet is the single reason why a 12-year-old could learn how to use Photoshop, why a 15-year-old managed to negotiate like Haisam Mohammed, and why a 16-year-old learned that setting up and registering a company is only 9 clicks away from Google's homepage. I counted, it's true. To be part of the first generation that grew up with the internet. Throughout my childhood, everything I was curious about was just a click away. When I'm thinking about it, I've probably spent more time on YouTube learning things than I've actually spent with some of my closest friends. And when I say that out loud, it's pretty tragic, but I must confess. But I was able to search and Google everything I was curious about, and in a way it made me travel beyond time, beyond geographical and beyond culture borders. Growing up with all this information at hand, it truly has shaped the way me and my generation view the world. Everything is literally out there, and for each and every day we surf the internet, we learn something new. If the way we grew up shapes us and the way we see the world, then I can find it logical that all the leaders of previous generations find it hard to understand that age ain't nothing but a number in the workplace, I must clarify, and that people take different paths to gaining knowledge. Because the truth is that many of them have grown up with certain limitations, while we, on the other hand, have been able to dream from day one and start exploring that dream right after. I cannot imagine a time where Wi-Fi or modems didn't exist. But for many, this is something they both lived and remembered very well. So to accept that all the leaders see the value of self-education through the internet, or people taking untraditional ways in order to gain experience, can be, and they can be as good as regular employees, can be kind of hard. It is as, I don't know, teaching your grandmother how to use TikTok. You know, that information is simply too much to handle for that old server, I'm sorry to say. But if you ask me, those types of servers might belong in the past. Because it's time, and I already see it, that the younger generations understand the true power and knowledge we hold, and accept the fact that some older leaders won't understand that. Instead of waiting for them to come around, we should create our own opportunities. In other words, we shouldn't wait, or don't waste your time fighting that old server. If you have something new to bring to the table, create your own ones instead. Because we are at the forefront of adopting new technology, and we are experts on social platforms already. We range from developing useful medical applications to building record labels for emerging music talents. And maybe most important in this day and age, we are starting nonprofits and addressing social problems before government take action on them. So, to all the stubborn, close-minded leaders that didn't take a chance on me or young people around the world, I just want to say thank you. Because without you guys, the will and strong determination of creating our own opportunities would have never existed. While we wanted to change the world with you, we now invite you to watch us do it ourselves. Thank you.